I always do that. I'm a night rider. Every time that I call past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire.
What's going on, bookworms? Welcome back to another episode of Bookmarks with Bump. A very special episode of Bookmarks with Bump this week. If 50 is the golden anniversary, this must be platinum. We're on our platinum episode, the 75th edition of Bookmarks with Bump, a social commentary podcast where your favorite endurance runner, certified tradesman, certified personal trainer goes over all threads on Twitter that I have compiled. This week here on the 75th edition will be a very special week. I think this and the next episode will be the last of the decluttering. I'm starting from fresh come episode 77. It'll be, hey, shout out to Luka and the Los Angeles Lakers. And nothing about the Dallas Mavericks, who fired Nico Harrison today, the GM who traded Luka. I believe it's all just a ploy to get the team to move to Las Vegas. But hey, let's save the conspiracy fodder for later. Maybe, if that's what the threads provide. But this week, the 75th week of the episode, also marks my last week of physical therapy. I have my follow-up with the doctor come Friday. Today, right now, is November 11th. Shout out to all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifices. And without veterans serving in the military and keeping us safe and keeping our freedoms, I would not have the ability to do something like this. I would not have the ability to come back from the depths that I crawled out of and make a name for myself and become a journeyman in the trades world, or become a endurance runner who is heavily decorated, or a personal trainer for that matter. Who knows what I'd be without the United States Marines, Navy, Army, and the Air Force. Without those groups of people, who knows where I'd be. So thank you for everything, and thank you, the bookworms, for diving in and listening to this week's show. Finished physical therapy this week. I opted out of my last appointment due to the, I wouldn't say unprofessional, because everything is professional when your director is directing it, but just due to the lackluster approach from the facility that I was attending. I won't call anybody out by name, or I won't call out their practice. Their practice is their practice. If it works for a lot of people, it works, but it doesn't work for a guy like me. I'm somebody who needs to be, I don't need to be pushed, right? But when it comes to things like this, I would like to be pushed. I would like to be pushed in the right direction, and unfortunately, we are 2 months out from the Achilles strain injury, and I'm not back to running form yet. I'm maintaining my weight. Oh God, I'm tired. No way. I actually lost a few pounds throughout this process, so that's nice. That's something to look forward to when I get back to pounding the pavement. But my follow-up is Friday, and next week's episode will be chock full of updates from that. I'm very excited to see what the direction is moving forward. They're talking about PRP injections, where they spin your blood until it's plasma, and they shoot it into an affected area to help blood flow and stimulate healing. I'm hinging on the side of the fence where I might need an MRI at this point, because swelling is still, there's still a large amount of swelling in that area, actually just a lump sitting on my Achilles, and that's alarming. I've never had anything in my life be swollen for 2 months straight, even directly after I learned how to use it. So, physical therapy, not a failure, not a success. Definitely did get some relief in certain areas. You know, I'm able to walk, so that's cool. I still have my legs. That's cool. It's a lot more than other people could say. But I had to get out of that practice, man. You know, when the PT was working on me, everything was great. Everything was fine and peachy. But when the PT is not, there's really no direction from anybody else inside of the facility, and that kind of stinks. I think physical therapy is something that should be closely monitored. I think people going through their exercises and their stretches should have certain cues, such like a personal trainer would do. You know, you're there to watch somebody go through the exercise. How would you know how my body's reacting to it if you're not watching? Speaking of not watching, I didn't watch Monday Night Football, and Week 10 has now concluded. Week 10 bolstered our record back up to 51-27. We went 8-6 last week. I think that's my worst record to date, picking the games. So we'll go through the Week 10 happenings, and we'll dive right into Week 11 and make our picks before we move on to some of the last threads, the last of the Mohegans. Notice I said Mohegans there. Shout out to my casino. Anyway, Indianapolis and Atlanta kicked a day off in Germany on Sunday. All the ingredients were in place for a team like the Falcons to topple the Colts. Without DeForest Buckner in the middle of the defense, Bijan Robinson was able to run freely and open Penix up to play action. Both these defenses had their moments, that's for sure. The pass rush of the Falcons getting to Dan Jones, and the secondary of the Colts breaking up critical passes. Sauce Gardner getting his hands on one in his first game as a Colt was something to make a note of. However, he did slip on an out route and let Drake London catch a touchdown. So, with the good, the bad, but where is the ugly? Both these running backs would have their day. It was ugly. It was an ugly, ugly sight if you were in the secondary chasing down Jonathan Taylor or Bijan Robinson on the other side. But it would be Jonathan Taylor who would have the moment of the season as he ran up the middle into a crowd and then bounced it outside on the left side of the tackles for an 83-yard touchdown, his second of the day and the longest touchdown in the NFL this season, beating Bijan Robinson's 81-yard touchdown from earlier in the season. With those two studs working it for 58 minutes, Tyler Algier would be who pounded in the touchdown to take the lead. And then Amir Abdullah would strike back immediately on the kick return late there in the fourth quarter with a massive return, and the Colts would pretty much start their drive in field goal territory. The Colts would advance just a bit, though. That pass rush that I alluded to earlier was getting to Dan Jones. They lost yardage, got it back, lost yardage, got it back. Didn't get as many first downs as they wanted to, and they sent Michael Badgley out there with a nail-biter of a kick that he nailed to tie the game, giving Germany some extra football there in their first game over there this year. I think that was the first game ever played in Berlin, actually. So shout out to Berlin, Germany for seeing what overtime football is all about. In overtime, it was the first drive of overtime, and it would be the Colts pass rush who would apply pressure, getting after Penix and sacking him on a huge third down play. They punt the ball off, and our defense has played well all day, so let's see what they can do here in overtime with a little bit of time left on the clock. Well, the pass rush didn't get to Dan Jones in time on one throw, and that throw was a beautiful over-the-shoulder pass to Tyler Warren, who made a huge grab, as Jonathan Taylor would then take handoffs and just take 6-yard chunks at a time until he ran in his third touchdown on his 244th yard of the game, and the Colts would win the game. A walk-off touchdown for Jonathan Taylor, 31-25. Jackson Dart and the Giants, they go into Chicago. They see what they can do with the Bears over there. He had plenty of chances to gash the Bears with the offensive inefficiencies still looming over Chicago. We had some nice, cute little flurries in this game, a nice little snow game over there in the NFL. We're talking about real football weather now. That's a beautiful sight to see. There's nothing I love more than turning on the TV to watch football and just seeing the snow fall in front of the camera. When it's raining, you don't really see the rain that much unless it's pounding down. Well, this snow, we saw it, and the Giants seemed to have a simple college-style offense that their quarterback was thriving in until they lost him to his fourth concussion checkout of this season. Now, he's been checked 4 times this season for concussions. He hasn't had any before. Will he have one this time? Only time will tell. It would be Caleb Williams, though, on a 70-yard rush to lift the Bears back over the Giants to make it 2 comebacks in a row and a 24-20 win. This game actually was a pivotal game for the Giants. Not many would think it was. We already knew that this season was a wash. But after this game, John Mara, Joe Shane, they said they had enough, and they fired Brian Daboll, which is such an interesting move to me. So you're going to get rid of the coach, Brian Daboll, but you're going to keep the GM who traded away the best player that your franchise has ever had in Saquon Barkley. They traded him away, watched him win a Super Bowl, and we're still going to ride with that GM. Interesting. I think this actually opens up a job opportunity for Brian Daboll, because I know a place in New York that he was very successful with a stud of a quarterback. So it would be interesting to see if Sean McDermott would open his arms in a very special way and allow Brian Daboll back into the offensive coordinating role where he left before he went to the Giants. So Giants lose 24-20. Daboll's out. Ben Johnson and the Bears keep on rolling. The Jets special team, they were rolling all over the Browns. This was a shocker for me. I don't know why. It was just two poopy teams taking each other on, but the Jets special teams may be their best team. They scored on a kick return, and they scored on a punt return right after David Njoku scored the first touchdown for the Browns. But then the Browns would tie it up with a pass to Jerry Jeudy. Despite the score, it was a grind of a half offensively at 14-14. It would be Breece Hall who put the team on his back. He rushed for 83 yards in that game, and he caught a pass that would go for 42 of Justin Fields' 54 passing yards in this game, and they win their second game in a row, 27-20. So the Jets now have 2 wins. Aaron Glenn doesn't look like a complete jackass, and the Browns are the Browns. The Jaguars really took it to the Texans. Parker Washington made a big impact, catching one pass for a touchdown, then running back a punt in the first half for a touchdown as well. The Texans were stuck there playing without their quarterback, and they had a hard time getting their offense going. Until the fourth quarter. Their defense woke up. Danielle Hunter went berserk in this game and had 4 or 5 sacks. I don't remember what it was. But the Texans went on a 26-0 run to win this game 36-29, and the Jaguars are not who we thought they were. The Texans are just up in the air regardless, so I don't know what they have going on, but the fire behind D'Amico Ryan's eyes in this game kind of shows you like how badly what he needed out of this. He got the win he needed. Texans win 36-29, and the Jaguars are free falling. Now I'm free. The Saints were surprising Carolina early. Tyler Shuck had a couple plays there where he showed his ability to scramble and break tackles, and then he found Chris Olave on a 62-yard touchdown, and then they rode a 10-7 lead into halftime. Tyler Shuck had a pretty bad performance in his first start. In this game, he showed a lot of signs of a player. A guy. He could be a guy. This guy was talked about a lot coming out of the draft, out of nowhere pretty much. And look what he does when he's thrusted into the role. They add another touchdown on a 30-yard pass to Juwan Johnson. And Shuck would perform well with 282 yards, 104 of those yards to Chris Olave. And the Saints win their second game of the season 17-7 against a tough defense. Now, this is what's exciting about this, is that Tyler Shuck played this well against a Carolina Panthers defense that has become very stout. It's what they hang their hat on, is how they're able to play this game defensively. They held the Packers last week to 13 points. They hold teams to low totals altogether, and they did it again this week with the Saints only being able to score 17. But when you have a grind of a game like that, you need to pull it out. The Dolphins were another team that stunned early, just like the Saints. They hit the Bills with 2 quick touchdowns in this game, and just as Josh Allen got into the red zone, he threw another interception after leading a long and draining drive. And you can't leave those drives without points, because what it does is demoralize your offense and demoralize your entire bench. They're watching, they're like, okay, we're about to get back in this, and then they got to go run out on defense again, and it's a tough spot to be in. This is kind of a trend with Buffalo. Whenever they get frazzled, they seem to lose their composure a bit, and that's going to happen when you turn over the ball. Miami found 3 turnovers in that last composure, and it would go on. They would go on to win this game 30-13. not the performance we were expecting out of the Bills. The Dolphins played really well against the Jets. The Dolphins played really well against the Pats. They're playing well within the division. Let's see what they do next week. The Ravens, let's talk about a division there. The Ravens and the Vikings met in Minnesota, and these are two teams that are fighting for a spot in their division. Aaron Jones would get this game started early with a touchdown, but then the Vikings would only ride that lead into halftime. And that's when the Ravens would go into the locker room and be reminded of who they were. I wonder what John Harbaugh said in there, man. Who's got it better than us? Wait, that's his brother. The Vikings would turn the ball over twice in the second half as well, as 3 times on downs, leaving too many. They left too many empty possessions, and they left the door wide open for the needy Ravens to win 27-19. Lamar Jackson had a good game. Derrick Henry had a good game, and the Ravens defense pulled it together there in the second half and held the Vikings down. Skull home. The afternoon games would go on to be complete drubbings. We had 3 NFC matchups, and 3 of those NFC favorites would see a combined score of 78-3 before the halves even came around. They were just putting up points all around. After falling 21-0 at the hands of the prolific Rams offense led by Matt Stafford, the 49ers would make a push until the Rams would pull away again on another huge run helped by turnovers and their weapons in Puka, Devontae Adams, Parkinson making big plays, Colby Parkinson, and then the rookie Terrence Ferguson. Stafford would throw for 4 touchdowns, and the Rams would win 42-26 over the 49ers and leave San Francisco victorious. The Lions played in front of the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, in Washington, D.C., a.k.a. Arlington, Virginia, and they absolutely smothered Marcus Mariota. The Lions fed Sonic and Knuckles are no longer ass and cheeks. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs would combine for over 200 yards, while Jared Goff added 3 touchdowns through the air. They dropped a 40-burger on the Commanders yet again. Wait, I have to check because I think they scored again late in the game because Dan Campbell likes to just continue to apply the pressure. Yeah, 44-22 in that game, which is just a complete drubbing. So it's funny. They score their last touchdown. They go down and they score a field goal again. And the Lions are scoring 2.8 points a drive. They're almost getting a field goal a drive. And you might think that's not a lot of points, but in the span of a game, you might have 10 to 12 drives, let's say. And you're scoring on every single one of them. Now that's a good spot to be in. So shout out to the Lions, just smoking the home team in front of the President, absolutely disrespectfully. Dan Campbell calling plays there. And then there's the Seahawks. They must be smoking something up in Seattle. They must be operating out of one of those Chaz zones. All these guys are on dope or something. They jump out to a 35-0 lead with 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns. DeMarcus Lawrence picked up 2 balls off the ground and ran them into the end zone in the first quarter. That's not supposed to happen. Anyway, whoever else they draw up a play for scored as well. The Cardinals ended up showing some fight. They got a few turnovers of their own. Sam Darnold did seem flustered from time to time, but they wouldn't be able to capitalize as effectively as the Seahawks. And the Seahawks would go on to win 44-22. Then we have Sunday Night Football that came around. My unwavering faith, which is now unfavoring Aaron Rodgers, has dipped into the pits of hell. Less than 50% passing completion, 2 picks. He was sacked 3 times. This team turned the ball over 3 times and had 0 luck on offense. 0 luck in the turnover game, and that's how the Steelers win. They got nothing out of the Chargers. Ladd McConkey would go on for 104 yards and Justin Herbert's lone passing touchdown, while Kamani Vidal will continue on a string of strong performances, rushing for 95 yards and a touchdown in a 25-10 win for the Chargers. Monday Night Football, I'm actually glad I couldn't watch that shit. 208 yards of total offense in the first half between both teams. They could not get the ball moving. Each quarterback fumbles after their best drives. They get down the field and they end up fumbling the ball, and you have a 0-0 score at the half. That's not good for the league, man. It's not what we're looking for here. Be another slop fest in the second half, but eventually Saquon Barkley would break free on a screen, and then Devontae Smith I don't know how I could get those two mixed up. I love Devontae Smith, and before A.J. Brown ever came over to the Eagles, I said we didn't need him. And look at me, I'm a Pats fan. I'm talking about how he knows what he's doing. He doesn't need my advice. Either way, they'd score a touchdown and a field goal in that game to the Packers. Lone touchdown. They missed a field goal in the windy conditions, and the Eagles win 10-7. But I know they're not happy there in Philadelphia. I know that locker room's not happy with everything that went on there. But hey, what can we do about it? A win's a win, right, baby? Then we saved the best for last, man. You see that thing? Oh, shit. You see that thing back there? Look at that. That is my ode. That is my omen. It could be the lucky shirt. I don't know what it is that has this team rolling the way they are, but my New England Patriots. Things look bleak. They really did. Early in the game, the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield marched right down the field on their first drive. And Emeka Egbuka made 2 huge catches. His last getting him into the end zone with an early touchdown. And for me, this is this was such a tough game to watch. I'm watching 2 of my loves battle on the field. Blood, sweat, and tears. I have to watch my boy Baker go up against my team and my sweet baby Drake. And the rain. I think the rain was their biggest help because it stopped the Patriots from scoring on their first drive. The precipitation and the hesitation, it would take a bit for young Drake May to get his feet underneath him before he found Kyle Williams, who hadn't caught a ball in 7 weeks, late in the first quarter to tie the game. And then later on one of their drives to follow that up, he finds Stephon Diggs and throws just a beautiful pass towards the sideline in the end zone. Diggs puts right foot down, left foot down. It's almost like I watched it in slow motion before they even had the replay. And they went into halftime up 14-10. Then, finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Travion Henderson emerges out of the locker room on the second play of the second half for a 55-yard rushing touchdown. The second rushing touchdown of his career, and that display of breakaway speed that every single Patriots fan has been waiting for all season. They'd add another Travion Henderson touchdown with 90 seconds left in the game to extend their 5-point lead, but no game is ever safe with the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. But the defense finally stepped up at this point when they needed it the most, and the Pats would hold on to win 28-23, stopping Baker from doing the inevitable, which is coming back and thriving. Next week, I could see him coming back and thriving, but against the Patriots, no. The Patriots advance to 8-2. They're running away with the AFC East, and they got a big matchup coming up on Thursday, so let's talk about it. The Jets and the Patriots. Why am I scared? I shouldn't be. What have the Jets shown me all season? That they have an inefficient offense, they have a defense that gets gashed, and now they're playing without Sauce Gardner. They're playing without Sauce Gardner, and they're playing without Quinnen Williams. I expect this to be a low-scoring game, but I expect us to pound the rock. Terrell Jennings is showing a lot of promise as a young running back. Travion Henderson, we know what he was when he came into the league. The first time he touched a ball, the opening preseason kickoff, he runs it all the way back for a touchdown. This guy is a monster, and we are going to let him off the leash this week against the Jets. Run it right up the middle. We don't care. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Patriots win, baby, and let's move on to Spain. Spain's getting a game, their very first game that's ever been played there, I do believe, and it's the 3-7 Dolphins and the 3-7 Commanders. I'm sure the schedule makers had a big... They didn't have a lapse in judgment here. These two teams were supposed to be something. Jaden Daniels continuing to get hurt, and their defense has kind of taken a step down from where they were last season. And the Dolphins, on the other hand, their defense is exactly where it was last season. It's still poopy, and their offense is not what we thought it would be. Except last week against the Bills, they did show a lot of fight and a lot of promise, and that's why I'm going to give them this win over Washington. Atlanta will come back to their home field and take on the 5-5 Panthers. Both of these teams are in a huge get-back spot. Fuck your cookies. Both of these teams are in a huge get-back spot, and they really need to get one here. This is kind of tough for me to call The Falcons just seem to drop games when they shouldn't. But at home, they've played well. And at home, they stopped the Bills. And maybe the Panthers are showing some signs of regression as far as this season goes. They've already topped their win total from last year. Maybe that's just what they wanted to do. Just get out in the stretch early, get to 5 wins, and then back off the pedal. I don't know how to call this. When we talk about the quarterbacks, I see more promise in Penix than I do in Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a smart and heady player, but I don't think he has the same abilities as a Michael Penix does. Atlanta's offense looked really well against the Colts last week, and the Panthers I can't say the same for. I think this game specifically, and I think the game last week for the Falcons will help them kind of pull their head out of their ass and let them do exactly what they're capable of. Give me the Falcons. We have Tampa Bay taking on Buffalo, so they have one shot at AFC East team. They lost. They're getting another this week as they travel up to Orchard Park, and Baker Mayfield will be playing in hostile territory. So give me Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the get-back spot against the Buffalo Bills. Houston at Tennessee. Houston. Tennessee's coming off a bye, but did they fix anything in that 1 week? I don't think so. They're playing with an interim head coach. They're playing with a rookie quarterback. Everything they're doing is just kind of learning. This is like a Floyd Mayweather season for the Tennessee Titans. And what I mean is Floyd Mayweather, first 3 rounds, he would kind of ascertain and do some judgments and figure out his spacing before he went on a full-on attack and did what he did for his entire career, which was go undefeated. Will the Tennessee Titans have an undefeated season next year? No, I'm not saying that. Not even close. They have a lot of holes to fix on the offensive line. Cam Ward needs some help in the pass game, and they need a solid running back they can depend on. So give me Houston in this game. Chicago at Minnesota. Battle of 2 NFC North teams. This is a get-back spot for the Bears. They're coming in off 2 in a row, and they got embarrassed the first time that they played the Minnesota Vikings. If you remember, the Vikings were down that entire game until the fourth quarter when J.J. McCarthy woke up. I think J.J. McCarthy needs to work on his accuracy a little bit. And I think that the Chicago Bears have a great run game that they can depend upon. Their pass rush is tough, and their secondary plays hard. Give me the Chicago Bears in Minnesota. Green Bay at the New York Giants. Green Bay. They really need one here, and they're a better team than they've shown us to be. I know that I call them pretenders. I believe that they are pretenders, but not against the Giants, man. Especially if they're going to try out Russell Wilson, because if Jackson Dart is truly concussed, he can't play. Duh. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. I mean, God. We already saw this game before, and it went the Bengals' way. It's got to go the Steelers' way this time. They need to simplify their defense and play the style of defense that they played 2 weeks ago against the Colts. I mean, they just beat one of the best teams in the AFC. So, pardon me. Oh, God. It's a long day, man. Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. If Pittsburgh can do what they did to the Colts, get a few turnovers off Cincinnati, which they're capable of doing. I mean, Joe Flacco, it's not like he's lost a step. He's still a dog, but I can see him forcing the ball into some windows that just aren't there. So, give me Pittsburgh in that game. LA Chargers, they're beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll never think about the Jacksonville Jaguars as a team again. And stats coming out about Trevor Lawrence are kind of concerning. 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this season. He was supposed to be the guy. Is he? If he proves me wrong this week, then sure. But this is a battle of a playoff game from a few years ago where Trevor Lawrence battled back from throwing 4 interceptions to go on to win a game. So, I mean, it's like I always say, man, sports are sports and anything can happen. Now, this here, 405, this is the game right here. Seahawks and Rams, man. This is 2 7-2 NFC West teams will go on to battle for the number 1 spot in the NFC West. And the Seahawks are traveling into Los Angeles, which isn't that much of a home field advantage. However, it's no Lumen Field. It's not going to be as loud. Those Seahawks fans are not going to be as loud in SoFi. simply due to the reverberation and the acoustics of the joint. But, Seattle's defense looks complete. Los Angeles defense looks complete. Both of these teams have a solid pass rush. The Rams more so than Seattle. But what Seattle has to back up that not as solid pass rush is a very solid secondary. Tyreek Woolen is a dog. The Rams, give me the Rams. This is the moment, okay? If Matt Stafford wants his first MVP of his career, this is the moment where he needs to win. So give me the Los Angeles Rams over the Seattle Seahawks. And please, Matt, don't make me eat my words. San Francisco will beat Arizona. They just got dog walked by the Seahawks. They're playing with Jacoby Brissett. I don't think Jacoby Brissett is a bad quarterback, but I also don't think that he is a top-tier quarterback. That's a tough one, honestly, come to think of it. But I'm still going to roll with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan in a get-back spot is a dangerous, dangerous man. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns playing at 425 for whatever reason. I don't know. But the Ravens, they're on a generational tear right now. They need to continue to pile up these wins. Right now they're at 4-5. They win this week, they're 5-5. And if Steelers lose, they're 5-5. And the AFC North is not captured yet. The Ravens are in a tight race, and they need to beat a division rival in order to make a statement in this league. And they will, at the hands of Lamar Jackson. Yeah, you could chase after him all day. Maybe he won't throw a pass, but he might run for 80 yards. So the Browns, they look abysmal. They lost to the Jets. What are the Ravens going to do to them? Come on, man. Who's got it better than us? Wait, that's the wrong Harbaugh. The Chiefs and the Broncos, AFC West showdown here. Now, this is a tough game. Or is it? You look at everything out there. You look at the way the Chiefs have played, and look at how the Broncos have won. Yes, they are 8-2, but they've won every single one of their wins in the last seconds of a game. It's almost like they pulled off the Bronco head and revealed the Chiefs' mask. They are playing the style of game that the Chiefs are known for playing. So, this is going to be a tight one. This is going to be a close one, but where does my hat lie with this one? With experience. Sean Payton, he's a great coach, yeah, for sure. But he can't be out there on the field and play with those young and gritty guys that he's got over there. All love in the world that I can give will go over to Denver. But I'm not picking him here. How about them Chiefs? Sunday Night Football. Lions. Eagles. The link. The lights. The camera, the action. Dan Campbell coming in off a hot offensive performance, dropping 44 on the Washington Commanders, a division rival of the Philadelphia Eagles, so they're tuned in. The Eagles had a mudfest of a game, but they pulled it out, and they won, and they made it gritty. I just can't give them this win, though. I think that both these teams after this game will be 7-3, and it will be Detroit taking the win on Sunday Night Football. And then, I really hope this ESPN dispute doesn't get solved by this weekend, because it would be a shame if I missed the Dallas Cowboys and Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football. I think this will be a good opportunity for the Dallas defense to look like they're better than they are. Geno Smith is just probably the worst starting quarterback in the league right now, and they can't move the ball on offense. Max Crosby's pissed off. He'll be chasing Dak down, yeah, for sure. But I think it's going to be Dallas who wins this game. Jerry Jones will dance on somebody's head, and the Cowboys advance to 4-5-1. That's pretty. How about them Cowboys? Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that game. That is just the worst Monday Night Football matchup of all time, but at least their teams have pretty sick logos, right? Look at these. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a logo of your own. Well, not really, okay? Paul Kuvert, it's Paul AI, put out a thread, rest in peace graphic designers. AI can create a logo in seconds, and here is how to create any logo for free using AI. Now you see these are bland, and they probably will be bland for a while. So please employ some graphic designers while you're at it. Least we forget they went to school for it. You see what I did there? Anyway, Wiener is trending. Shout out to Wiener. Number 1, go to Bing Chat. Bing is the free AI chat from Microsoft, and it can create images. If you go to Bing Chat and select creative mode, you can ask them for logo ideas. Describe your business and ask Bing for logo ideas. Prompt, give me some logo ideas for a gym I'm about to open. Describe them as precisely as possible. Then you generate the logo. You can ask it in any style, realistic, drawn, simple. Create a logo, a pair of wings with a dumbbell in the middle representing freedom and power with colors, simple logo, SVG, white background. Okay, and it's going to give you a shit ton of options to choose from. Your images are generating, and then look at that. It gives you options. Number 4 is that you can modify the logo and save it. If you want, you can modify the results by asking it to change some colors or elements. In this one, he said make the dumbbell bigger, and look what they did. They added some extra weights to it. He hopes this was useful to you. If you want to, you can follow him. I'm not going to. I'm going to move on to the next thread, which is all about how to get rich, okay? We all love the ideas. We all love the American capitalism where, you could come up with an idea and an invention and get as rich as Richard Branson riding around a jet ski with a woman in a suit. I'd prefer to be in a bathing suit so I could toss myself off of it when I'm done whipping around. But I mean, this is why there's a difference here. This is why I am in a 6-figure life and this man is in a 9-figure life. There is a much different world for people like him and I. Psych Wizard put out a thread. Nobody got rich with a salary. If you want to retire a multimillionaire in the next 5 years, okay, that's a short period of time. Right now I'm 31. You're telling me I could retire at 36 with mills? Let's do this. Learn a high-income skill. Set 2 hours a day with no distractions and build on knowledge that you can leverage. You choose a skill. You select 5 to 10 YouTube channels teaching that specific skill, which is out there all over the place. If you ever say that your education is stifled for whatever reason, you forgot about YouTube. How many things have we done on a day-to-day basis going to YouTube and going, how to reset my humidifier, how to set up my YouTube TV. How about this one? How to you get it. It's endless, right? So binge watch it for 100 days and master the basics, then build up on the knowledge. That's 3 months. Think about all the stuff you binge watch in a 3-month basis. How much of it is educational? Create your network. Grow your own circle, pick 3 friends, and hop into self-improvement. And let your conversations revolve around money, success, and business. You have to be a reliable team player in these situations. And note that the people that you're creating your network with also need to be reliable team players. And what that means is that they're willing to sacrifice. If you're dealing with somebody who isn't willing to sacrifice, something that I talk about all the time on this podcast, then that person is a vampire. There are 2 people in this world. There are fountains and there are vampires. When you boil it all down to the brass tacks, vampires suck the energy, suck the motivation, and suck the gains out of you, while fountains encourage and build and push through adversity with you. If you're not willing to push through adversity to gain something in your life, you don't deserve to have it. And that might be a bold stance, but that's the truth. If you're not willing to work and claw and scratch for what you want in this world, how much do you really want it? Do you want it because you want to say you want it? Do you want it because you want to say you have it? Or do you want to earn it? It's a question I ask y'all. Number 3 is to create multiple income streams, because a fact is you can't outwork money. So do this. Open your business, own your assets, and act broke. Don't just save money. It's a scam to save money. Let money work for you by investing what you save. You think about this in your net worth, right? My net worth isn't just what I have in the bank account. It's also all of my assets. It's my computer, my recording equipment, my car, my instruments, whatever it is that I have that I can liquidate one day. Those are all my assets. Now think about that if you have a property. Think about that if you have a business front. Think about that if you have a business online. All of that is something you can invest in and help build your money and help build your passive income as you sit. Number 4, spend at least 100 minutes of your day reading, an hour and 40 minutes. 88% of financially free people are obsessed with learning. How obsessed with learning are you? It's part of the reason why I started this podcast. I wanted to learn about all these threads. I wanted to dive in deeper with them. I wanted to talk about things that I know, yes, but I also wanted to sit down and learn with an audience because it puts a little bit of accountability on you. You know what I'm saying? Financial education is self-taught. Start by reading these books: Human Nature, Atomic Habits, and Think and Grow Rich. Which book would you recommend? When it comes to when it comes to learning something in a book, I think it's important to learn about people and learn about how people operate. For me, books that I've always gravitated towards are books about people with stories of addiction, what they've gone through, and how can I compare that to what I've gone through and what positions they've been in and what it does for a person ultimately in growth. I don't think I'd grow to be the man I am today without my struggles. And I can say the same for so many stories that I've read myself. Number 5 is to use that knowledge. Use that knowledge you obtain and earn with it. The ultimate modern flex is to have a great physique, be anonymously rich, own nothing, and freedom. Simplicity is the new rich. And I believe in that. A big thing is to act broke, right? That's what they tell you, act broke. And I'm pretty good at that. It's very minimalist when it comes to things that I have in my apartment, clothing, whatever it is. Like, I'm not spending money on the shiny things, okay? I'm spending money on my future, whether that be investing in my 401k, building up my savings until I can go on to promote my business more when it comes to the podcast or anything else in that matter. Acting broke is going to be your number one trait when it comes to being anonymously rich. Number 6 is to wake up at 5 a.m. People dread waking up early, but this saves you 3 hours before your day starts. Cultivate successful people habits like making your bed, taking a glass of water, working out and taking a walk, and reading 50 plus pages. Success is hidden in your daily routines. How much are you getting after it on a day-to-day basis? Okay. Now, I can't wake up at 5 and say I have a 3-hour head start because I wake up at 4 to get to work for 5. Can't you see? This is the evidence. However, waking up early, before I had such an early job to clock into, I felt like I achieved so much before my day even got started. And I think this is it's an important vote of confidence to have, is that feeling of achievement. What that feeling of achievement does for you is boost you through your day and remind you when something goes wrong, I've already conquered something. So if you go into your day already on a conquest, what can't you do, honestly? An example to grow a brand online is to choose a platform like Twitter, YouTube, or IG, grow an audience, and then monetize it. Leverage the internet to make money. You could read The Art of Twitter, which is something that this guy's got, but we're not going to do that. We're going to move right to the next thing. Because when we're waking up early and we need to do a little walk or something, we need a workout. We need a plan. How do we get a plan? Well, we get a plan by starting a routine. But Daniel Raz, Easy Fat Loss at Home, is trying to help you get rid of your excuses. Because so many people have excuses as to why they can't go to the gym, why they don't have time to work out, why they don't have time for themselves when they're spending so much time with themselves. You know, it's put the phone down and do some of this. You got day 1, upper body. Day 2, legs. Day 3, abs. Day 4 is a 20-minute walk. Nice and easy. We're not doing a lot here. Day 5 is a day of rest. Day 6, you're going to hit that full body, and day 7, you're going to rest. So let's see what he's got. No equipment needed. You have an interval timer here, okay? This interval timer will be integral to the type of HIIT exercises that we're looking at. You have knee push-ups, making it easier. We're simplifying things, making it attainable for the average person. Wall slides that target your upper back where you're against the wall and you're raising your arms up and down, keeping everything nice and tight to the wall. It does do work on the posterior chain, so don't doubt it, especially when you're doing these for 30 seconds. Superman's targets lower back when you're laying prone on your stomach and you're lifting your legs and arms up. Chair dips where you're doing literal dips on a chair. And shoulder taps where you're planking, tapping. It targets the shoulders. You do these exercises for 30 seconds and you rest for 30 seconds in between each one. Perform 3 rounds and you got yourself a workout there. Now let's look at this. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Each one's a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 15-minute workout there. Why can't you do it? Knee push-ups to target the chest. Wall slides that target the back. Supermans that target the lower back. Chair dips that target the triceps. Shoulder taps that target the shoulder. Day 2 will be legs. You're going to do your wall sits, walking glute bridges, and your calf raises. You exercise each exercise for 30 seconds, rest for 30 seconds. Do this for 4 rounds. The legs, they're a bigger muscle group. They're harder to target. And this one's only going to take you 16 minutes. Another 15-minute workout. Your wall sits. This static, stabilizing position will help stimulate growth in the quadriceps and in the glutes. Your marching glute bridge, where you're lifting one leg at a time as you're bridging. 30 seconds of that is a real barn burner, so don't shy away from anything here. Your normal glute bridges, you're basically just fornicating the air. Calf raises, go up as high as you can on your toes. That's a good view of it. Man, this guy really has it going on. Shout out to Daniel Raz. 3 rounds of your abs. Your first twist. Avoid swaying your legs and torso. Only your hands should be moving. You can place your heels on the floor to make this easier. But the more stabilizing muscles we contract, the more stimulation and muscle growth we get. Remember that when you try to take the easy way out on it. Dead bugs. Lie on the ground with a flat black. Lie on the ground with a fat black. Lay on the ground with a flat black. Motherfucker. Lie on the ground with a flat back. Your knees are 90 degrees and your hands straight above you. Extend your arm back while extending your left leg. This is what dead bugs do, okay? You have a plank. Basically, this is the number one exercise for the core right here. You're planking. All of the stabilizing muscles get contracted. All of the abdomen muscles get. It's just a beautiful place to be. Leg drops. Start with both legs together. Look at this. Little kicky foots here. Day 6, you pick 2 exercises from day 1, and 2 from day 2, and 1 from day 3. 5 exercises total. At your will. Whichever one of these exercises we just showed you, go ahead and do them. Shout out to Daniel Raz. And if you can't remember that, well, here's how to remember everything by the smooth sailing mindset. This is according to science. So we have a memory life hack, which is something that I might need because sometimes I get a little forgettable from time to time. Especially when the sun goes down and it's almost time for dinner and I get stony. Sleep. Your brain is like a muscle. It needs proper sleep and this is poor grammar. Your brain is like a muscle. It needs proper sleep to build those long-lasting connections. Our brains recover while we're asleep. Use metaphors and stories. Relate what you are learning to concepts and stories that you are already familiar with. I'm going to have to do some dissecting of this. Practice chunkling. Take individual pieces of information and group them together into a larger unit. Okay, well, I'm learning about exercise, so let me think about everything in exercise and keep that here. And then I'm learning about football. Let me think about everything football and keep that here. That's your chunkling, or probably chunking is what they meant. Using a visual memory. Visualizing a concept is often the best way to fully understand it and remember it. When you're sitting in class or when you're sitting in your school and you're getting taught about, let's just say for me, grinding a wheel. Close your eyes for a second and imagine those words you're learning. Imagine you doing them. And think about that. That's muscle memory. Now, you might not be doing it, actually. But if you're thinking about it that thoroughly, you tell me. I mean, that's a good way to see yourself through it. And that's a good way to remember what you're supposed to do. Learn, practice, recall, repeat. While reviewing, make sure you are recalling and not just rereading passively. What he means by recall is to go back to that moment. Go back to exactly where you were the first time you were learning. This is a studying practice. If you go back and think about the first time you learned it, and you make that thought, you make that memory prevalent, what are the odds that you'll forget it? I don't know. I don't work for Vegas. I just donate from time to time. Those fights were interesting. I wouldn't say they were the best I ever went through, and that's probably why I'm happy to get rid of them. This was bookmarked back in 2023, when the idea of a podcast for me was in the infantile stages. I think in 2023, that time, I was doing the Funny Guys Moneylines podcast with Nick and Hunter. And this is a great throwback. We talked all sports the entire show. I would love to get back there one day. So if you guys see this, give me a holler. Anybody else, give me a holler on Twitter at BumpOfTTS. Give me a holler in my Gmail, bookmarkswbump@gmail.com. Send me a thread. If you need some advice in the gym, whatever you need, I'm open. I'm all ears. I would love to get some threads in there for me to go over, especially now that I'm looking for new material. But I had just wanted to dive in and get rid of a lot of this stuff so we could kind of stay away from the political jargon a little bit this week and just stay on the up and up here. The NFL looks great. My life looks great. The podcast looks great. I got no complaints. So this week I have no complaints, and I will continue to not complain about nothing. That's for sure. What else do we have going on? Yeah, my follow-up of physical therapy. I'll give you all a update next week when I'm done with that. And we'll see what the next move is moving forward and when the next time I'll be collecting one of those is. Gave you my Twitter. Gave you my Gmail. Follow me on TikTok at bookmarkswbump. Man, that's it. As always, it's all love. God bless. I always do that.
I'm in that rider. Every time that I call past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm in that rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire.